Would you say that our community, the surrounding areas you just described, Shreveport, Bossier, would you say our community faces a mental health crisis?
When we talk about a crisis, we're talking about access to care, access to resources. So when you don't have that, we are dealing with a crisis in this area. And anytime you have a crisis, the first thing you want to do is figure out how to address it, how to stop it. You know, because if you don't stop it, if you don't stop people who are cut from bleeding, they'll bleed on people that didn't cut them. And I think that's what we're dealing with in our community.
And do you think that our community really understood the degree of this issue until this summer when we saw no fewer than 4 people die at the hands of police that were in psychiatric emergencies?
I think we're still lacking. I don't think we've caught up to what's truly going on. I think more people are aware, but not enough people are aware. And when enough people are not aware, that's going to continue to cause more problems. I think that as a city, that we need to be culturally responsive to what's going on inside of our community when it pertains to mental health, healthcare. I got into this on accident, and I got into it with working with children. And when you're working with children and you start to see them one day where they're super excited and they're having a great day, and then the next day you see that someone has diminished their light, you want to figure out how to bring that light back into them. And in the process of getting into that and doing that, I wanted to learn more about it. How can I help young people and people in general bring that light back into their lives? Because we all deserve that. You know, life needs sun, you need love, and you need other things to go along with that in order for you to blossom and grow.
This wasn't a month or two or a year or two in the making, this crisis. People I speak to, like yourself, are saying it played out over the better part of a decade, maybe even more.
I would agree.
What kind of, if you can, speak to the history of how we came onto this kind of fractured mental health system that we see right now playing out in Bossier and in Shreveport?
So you have to go deeper than just Shreveport and Bossier. You have to look at the state as a whole. You have to think about, we dealt with the worst natural disaster on land in the entire state, not the entire state, but the entire country, I would say, with Hurricane Katrina. I have young people who that come through this office that every time it rains, they think that it's going to flood again and they're going to lose everything. I've had the privilege of working in Lafayette Parish schools where there are kids who deal with that when it's rain, they just shut down completely. So you have to look at where we rank nationally in order to understand where we are today and what's happened over the last 10 years. Poverty issues, lack of an education. You're looking at a city who is nationally ranked when it comes to crimes against women and children. There are a lot of things that factor into why we're dealing with this in this particular area. Where we stand nationally determines a lot of what's going on locally. So there are a lot of things that just have to be digested in order for us to get to the point to where we can start making amends on some of the stuff that's happened in this area.